Well, I first heard about the story from Ed, actually. He was the one he sent me a YouTube link. So it's the power of kind of social media is how I found out about Katherine. And it was a beautiful short segment about her and her story, and I was so captivated.
There's actually a play that was created by East West Players in Los Angeles. It's an Asian American theater company, and I had heard about Katherine's story through them. And I kind of looked into it, and I'm actually a journalist myself, and I looked into the story, and we sought out Katherine's daughter, Dottie Lashenko. We went to see her, and she had all this great photos and videos of her mom, and we were just amazed at the amount of information she had about her. And we didn't really know that much about Katherine's story at the time. I mean, I had seen the little video that had been created and a few other things online, but it was pretty amazing to discover.
My favorite artifact that was among those that we looked at was actually a copy of one of her favorite songs that she used to play on the piano. Her two favorite songs on piano were Unforgettable and also what's it called?
Rustle of Spring.
Rustle of Spring.
And I should preface that Katherine was actually studying piano at USC and LA Music Conservatory before she decided she was going to become a pilot.
And I love music, so I was able to take those songs and play on the piano, and through that I really felt kind of her spirit, and it was very, very touching, and it was so cool to get that kind of emotional connection to her. I love all of the photos. We poured over hundreds and hundreds of photos, videos.
My personal favorite is obviously the iconic photo that you're seeing behind us there in the image. And as an Asian American, it just was something like I was kind of blown away by. I'd never expected to see that image of a Chinese American woman at that era in that pose with that plane and the propeller and the leather coat and everything. It just was iconic. That's the best word I can describe it with.
As a little girl growing up, and one of my favorite subjects was always social studies, history. I would have loved to have opened up a history book and seen her story and her face. When I opened up a book, I never saw someone who looked like me, and I think that it's so powerful to have someone to look up to, someone who came before you to aspire to, and she's just that kind of person. And it's very special, and that's why we want to tell this story.
I'd have to agree with Katherine that we needed more Asian American icons in American history, and Katherine stands out as probably the first Asian American woman aviator in American history that was recorded anyway in newspapers and documented. She's actually in some Universal newsreel from 1935, which we found through the National Archives. And it was just amazing to find all this material out there, and I had never even heard of it growing up as a kid. I never would have imagined there were Chinese American flying planes in the 1930s. And
women.
Yeah, especially a woman at that time, and flying in air races with Amelia Earhart and participating in these air shows and doing stunts. And these things I would never would have occurred to me. So it was just an amazing find for us, and I'm proud to be working on a documentary about this and helping share it with people.
It helps define what it means to be an Asian American woman in America, and we're so happy and proud of this whole experience and knowing more about her. And we hope other people will enjoy it as well. Katherine was so special, not only in those 10 years of her career as an amazing pilot. She was so active and so talented in that way, but also in her life and later years especially, she was so active in her community, and she would go and speak, and she would be really, really involved. People loved her. The Chinese community in America loved her. And part of the reason why is because she really implored other people and young people to kind of ignore stereotypes and go after your dreams. And she was kind of all about that.
I grew up with that atmosphere, and I thought it was like the norm. And I figured that's the way everybody lived. She was a real determined lady, and she was very happy and a warm person. She traveled a lot. She wanted to help the people that she knew, and she felt that she wanted to do something important like that, and that's what she did.